Whenever a big royal story breaks, there's always the added speculation that goes on, right? Including, was there a meeting, wasn't there a meeting? I can assure you 100% there was definitely a meeting. It's fascinating the way these things, though, from people in other parts of the world suddenly tell you that, no, this couldn't possibly be.
Who is going to pay the bill? Why did every wealthy celebrity friend go completely silent the moment the verdict landed? And what does Harry actually want from the royal family right now? And does he understand who controls the one thing he most needs? 3 questions, each one more uncomfortable than the last. Let's get into them. Question 1. Who pays? The legal case is done. The court has ruled. And the financial reckoning that follows is, to put it plainly, significant. Let's be precise about the numbers, because what circulates in the press is not always the full picture. The figure being discussed in media circles, somewhere in the region of 50 million, is not a figure that lands entirely on Harry alone. There were other claimants involved in the broader action, Sir Elton John, others who lent their names and their standing to what was presented as a principled case against historic press intrusion. How the final costs are distributed will ultimately be determined by the court. The final payment judgment will set out exactly who owes what and to whom. That judgment has not yet been issued in full, but here is the reality underneath the legal specifics. Harry entered this case believing, by multiple accounts, that it represented more than a legal claim. He saw it as an opportunity to do something significant, to hold accountable people and institutions whose coverage of him and his mother had caused real harm. He wanted to slay dragons, as the saying goes. What he got instead was a case where the ground was always thinner than it appeared, where the nature of the hacking claims, incidents from the early 2000s, 2 decades ago, proved difficult to establish with the kind of certainty a court requires. Where sitting down in front of an ITV interviewer to discuss what he was fighting for revealed, to those watching closely, that he did not always have a complete grip on the specifics of what he was alleging and why. The late Queen reportedly told him not to do it, William told him not to do it. The advice from people who understood the legal landscape was consistent. He proceeded anyway. Now comes the bill. Question 2. Where are the friends? And here is the detail that says everything about where things actually stand. Not one of the wealthy, influential, publicly vocal celebrity supporters of Harry and Meghan has issued a statement about the verdict. Not Oprah Winfrey, a billionaire media institution who has made Harry and Meghan's story central to some of her most significant recent content. Not the Hollywood figures who attended the events, posed for the photographs, appeared in the documentaries. Not the Kardashians. Not Gwyneth Paltrow, who was warm enough when the lifestyle brand was being launched alongside her own. Not the pop stars, the philanthropists, the public intellectuals. Complete silence. Every single one of them. Now, this is not surprising if you understand how celebrity works. In Hollywood, in the entertainment world, in the circles where influence is currency, nobody wants to be publicly associated with a loss. Nobody wants to be the name that appears next to a failed legal case. Nobody wants to be tapped for money. And importantly, nobody wants to be seen as backing a loser. Because that is what this verdict makes Harry in the cold commercial calculation of the entertainment industry. Not a villain, not someone to be attacked, simply someone whose stock has declined to the point where public association costs more than it gains. The silence is not hostile. It is something worse. It is indifferent. And for 2 people who built an entire Californian operation around the idea that they had powerful, loyal, influential friends in the American entertainment world, indifference from those fright ends at the precise moment when their support would matter most is a very specific kind of message. Nobody is coming with a check. Nobody is issuing a statement. The phone is not being answered. The Highgrove context, why this week matters now. This is why the Highgrove meeting, whatever its genuine emotional dimensions, needs to be understood in the context of everything else happening simultaneously. Harry and Meghan wanted validation from the meeting. They wanted the king to put out a message, and an unofficial one did emerge, consistent with the fact that Highgrove is a private residence rather than an official royal palace and therefore not subject to the same formal communication requirements. They got something. A meeting happened, the children were brought in, pictures were taken, and those pictures belonged to the crown, not to Montecito. But what they are also now hoping for goes considerably further than an afternoon at Highgrove. According to sources, there are murmurs, quietly circulating, that Harry would like to see updates to the royal family website. Specifically, he would like the references to Senta Ballet, His African charity, now subject to its own legal proceedings, removed or updated because he believes the current references are damaging to the Invictus brand going forward. He is also, reportedly, not entirely opposed to the idea of Meghan's public biography on official platforms being updated to reflect what she considers her significant achievements since leaving royal life. The podcast, the brand, the television work. I want to be careful here not to be unkind. These are not unreasonable things to want, on their own terms. But the person who controls the royal family website, the person who has final sign-off on what appears there and what does not, is Prince William. The same Prince William who declined to attend the Highgrove meeting, who was at Polo, who has made his position on the Sussex situation clear repeatedly and consistently over several years. The idea that William is going to update the royal family website to reflect Meghan's Netflix show or her lifestyle brand based on a meeting at his father's private residence that William explicitly chose not to be part of is, to put it gently, optimistic. What Harry actually believes, and the gap. Here is where I think the most significant misreading is happening inside the Sussex operation right now. Harry appears to believe, genuinely by all accounts, that his father's willingness to have this meeting is a sign of broader movement. That William, having watched the king extend this gesture, will eventually conclude that the time has come to move past everything that has accumulated. That Invictus Birmingham might yet see royal attendance. That Christmas could be different this year. That the roadblocks, the website, the security, the titles, the formal recognition might start to come down. What this reading misses is something fundamental about how William operates. William does not make decisions based on emotion. He does not look at what his father has done and conclude that he should therefore do the same. He looks at the full picture. The legal cases, the public statements, the things said about his wife, the things said about the institution, the precedents being set, and he makes his own calculation, and his calculation, right now, has not changed. A meeting at Highgrove between a seriously ill father and the son he has not seen properly in years is a human moment. It is a private decision Charles made about his own family and his own time. It is not a policy shift, it is not an institutional opening, and it is not, in William's view, a reason to update the website. The appeal question, why it won't happen. One final point worth addressing, there will be speculation about an appeal. Sources familiar with Harry's legal situation are clear. An appeal would be thrown out before it could gain any traction. The legal beat. ACES is not there. The advice given, firmly, by people who understand the system, is that pursuing an appeal would compound the damage rather than address it. This is actually consistent with a pattern. When Harry pursued the security case through political channels, those around him who understood the landscape said it was unlikely to succeed in the way he hoped. It did not. When he pursued the hacking case in the way he did, with the claimants he assembled and the timeline he was working with, those who understood the courts said the ground was thin. It was. The pattern is not unique to Harry. It is the pattern of someone who is sometimes surrounded by people who tell him what he wants to hear rather than what the situation actually requires. What the situation now requires is a clear-eyed assessment of where things stand, not a legal appeal, not a website update, not a demand for a formal statement from Kensington Palace about Christmas. Just an honest reckoning with what is, rather than what was hoped for. The case is over. The bill is coming. The friends are quiet. And somewhere in California, two people are looking at what this week has given them: a meeting, some photographs that belong to someone else, and the goodwill of a seriously ill father, and trying to work out whether it is the beginning of something or simply a moment that was allowed to happen. William's answer to that question is not being given in words. It is being given in the fact that he was at Polo. Drop your thoughts below. Where do you think this goes from here? Like the video if it gave you the clearer picture. Subscribe to stay with the story. Take care. See you very soon.